All right, boys and girls, welcome back to the drive-thru. It's been a while. This is for all the 3rd and 6th bell students out there just grinding. Okay, we were going to figure this out. We're going to make this work. So this is all the help you need on the Chapter 3 practice test. So this is the best thing you could be doing to get ready for the Chapter 3 test, is watching this video and doing this practice test. Okay, so notice the first one, we've got what are called inequalities. Okay, and when you have inequalities, you're going to have to shade to mark down the answers, because there's infinitely many answers. So first thing I'm going to do is just kind of define this axis a little bit better. Just give me a second while I do that. So now we've got our XY plane, and we're going to do this one eventually, so I'm going to do that as well. Now I'm going to steal some of Mr. Crow's thunder here. So notice there's no line here, so we're not going to write a line. We're going to write dots. If you see a line, draw a line. Okay, so we're going to consider this thing y equals negative 2x plus 1, but we're not going to write it as a line, we're going to write it as dots. What is the slope of this equation? It is negative 2. And what is the y-intercept? It is 1. So we start at 1, then we go over 1 and go down 2. That's because the slope is negative 2. Over 1, down 2, over 1, down 2. Now we can see the line forming. You could also do this in your graphing calculator if you preferred, and use your table. You could also make a list of input-outputs and put 0, 1, 2, 3 here. And notice you'd get 1, and you put in a 1, you get a negative 1, and put in a 2, and you get a negative 3, and that's the same. Then I dash this line. Okay, now, can somebody read this to me out loud? Y is greater than. So if it's greater than, you shade above. Okay? Now, we're not done yet. You also need the line y equals x. Okay? Consider this, y equals 1x plus 0. Does that help a little bit? So the slope is 1 and it starts at 0. Over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1. You should be pretty used to graphing this line y equals x. Now, we want to be less than x, so we want to shade below the blue line. But the final answer to the question is anywhere that the shaded values overlap. So that is the answer. Okay? Now, look, in this class, if you didn't love that, you're just going to watch the video again. No problem. You watch shows twice all the time. Okay? All right. 2 is a lot quicker. So we'll call this one the blue line, and we'll call this one the pink line. Let's look at the blue line first. What is the y-intercept of the blue line? It is 3. What is the slope? It is negative 2. Okay? Now, look, these are lines. It's an equal sign, so I just take my straight edge, and I draw a nice crisp line. Now we'll go pink. The y-intercept of pink is negative 2. The slope is positive 2. I can assure you on your test, the answer is a nice whole number. This one is not, so we're just going to have to estimate it, but that's okay. Okay? That looks to me like it is like 1 comma 1/2. Okay? On your test, those intersect at a nice whole point. There's also videos we can go back and watch if you want to do that in your calculator. Okay? All right. So now we're going to go over how to use what's called substitution. Substitution is when we take out one letter. In this case, we're going to take out x, and we put in whatever x is equal to. We are substituting it in. So 3 plus 3x equals 6y. I'm going to take this out. What does x equal? Well, x equals 5y minus 7. So I'm going to put that in. Okay? Now, what's good about this situation? This is an equation I can solve because there's only one type of letter. There's only a y. I want you to understand that I cannot solve either one of these equations because there's two letters. Okay? So, we got to distribute 3 plus 15y minus 21 equals 6y. Don't do anything yet, just clean it up. So 3 minus 21 is negative 18 plus 15y equals 6y. Subtract 15y. Not loving this because it's positive Wednesday, but we're going to have to deal with it. Negative 18 equals negative 9y. Divide each side by negative 9. And you get y is negative 18 divided by negative 9. So you get y is 2. Okay? How do you find x? Well, you go back up here. X is 5 times y minus 7. So it's 5 times 2 minus 7. What did we do? We substituted it back in. That's why it's called the substitution method. That's 10 minus 7, so you get x is 3. So you typically can write this like an ordered pair. 3 for x, 2 for y. Or you could write x equals 3, y equals 2. Those are both fine ways to write that answer. Okay? Let's do another practice with substitution. I'm going to take out the y and I'm going to put in what y equals. 2x minus 4 times 3x plus 9 equals negative 6. (2x minus 12x is a negative 10x. Add 36 to both sides. You get negative 10x. Equals 30. So x is negative 3 when you divide 30 by negative 10. X is negative 3. Y is 3 times x. Well, x is negative 3 plus 9. And that's 0. So you get y is 0. X is negative 3. Or you can write that as negative 3, comma 0. However you prefer to write it. They're both correct. Okay? Alright. Now a different method. And this is called elimination. And when we use elimination, we want these two numbers here to cancel. So 8y minus 6x equals negative 10. I'm just going to write it out with more space. Now, what I'm going to do is multiply the bottom one, the whole thing. I'm going to multiply it by negative 1. And what that gives me is negative 8y plus 4x equals positive 12. Okay? And now, if you notice, the goal is to get the number in front of one of these sets of letters to cancel. when you add them. So if we add up these two things, 8y plus negative 8y is 0. Good, that's what we wanted. The y's are now gone. That's why it's called the elimination method. Negative 2x equals positive 2. So divide each side. Look, this is gone. This is just a 0. So divide each side by negative 2. And you get x equals negative 1. How do I find y? I plug x back in. So 8y minus 6 times negative 1 is negative 10. 8y plus 6 is negative 10. Subtract 6 from both sides. 8y is negative 16. Divide each side by 8, and you get y is negative 2. Okay? Let's practice that again. I'll do this one in red so you don't confuse them. 2x plus 4y equals negative 8. Let's multiply the bottom one by negative 1 this time. Well, I did that last time, sorry. That turns out to positive 5x minus 4y equals negative 6. Now when I add these two things up, 2x plus 5x is 7x. 4y and negative 4y are gone. 8 plus negative... Oh, what did I do wrong there? Let's see. Is this a nasty fraction? Nope. Let's see. Got it. Negative 8 plus negative 6 is not 2. It's negative 14. Here we go. Divide each side by 7. And you get x is negative 2. So again, to find y, we plug it in. So 2 times negative 2. I'm just using this equation right here. Plus 4y equals negative 8. Negative 4 plus 4y equals negative 8. Add 4. 4y is negative 4. So y is negative 1. Okay? We're going to do two more. And these two are absolutely on the test. I'd like to give a shout out to my buddy Shane for recommending these. Okay? You got you and your friend. You're both reading a book during A-Spell, back when that used to happen. You have already read 50 pages. And you are reading at 2 pages per minute. Which one of those two things sounds like a slope? 2 pages per minute or 50 pages to start? Excellently. 2 pages per minute. So your equation is 2 pages per minute plus a 50-page head start. Okay? Your friend's equation is 3 pages per minute. But they didn't start as far ahead as you. And you want to figure out when will you two be on the same number of pages. Okay, well the number of pages that you read in this case is y. And x represents the minutes that you've been reading. So what we want to do is solve this for both variables. The easiest way to do this would be in your calculator, or just to write 3x plus 30. Since they're both equal to y, that means that they must be equal to each other. That's a transitive property from Algebra 1 and from geometry. Subtract 2x from both sides. You get x plus 30 is 50. Subtract 30. You get x is 20. So check this out. What's y? Well, let's try it in both of them. What's 2 times 20? That's 40. 40 plus 50 is 90. What's 3 times 20? 60. 60 plus 30 is 90. That's how you know you're doing it right. Both people are on page 90 after 20 minutes. You can do that, okay? Don't let the words intimidate you into thinking you can't do it. Life is a word problem, and it usually doesn't involve much math, okay? All right, last one. Each morning you do a combination of aerobics, which burn 15 calories per minute, and stretching, which burns 5 calories per minute. We have no equation yet. That's just information. Both of those seem like slopes to me. Your goal is to burn 400 calories during a 60-minute workout. So let's let A be the number of aerobic minutes that you do, and S be the number of stretching that you do. And we know that the combination of aerobics and stretching is going to add up to how many minutes? 60 minutes. Okay? Can we solve that equation? We cannot, because there's two variables. So what do we need? We need another variable. Okay? Well, we know that, let's see, aerobics burns 15 calories for every minute that we do aerobics. And the stretching burns 5 calories and we want to burn 400 calories. So now the question is, what method do we want to use? I don't really care. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do elimination. So, but you could also use substitution. Remember that A is 60 minus S. You could take that in, and you could plug it in right there if you wanted. That would work. That's the substitution method. I'm going to multiply this whole thing by -5. And hopefully you'll see why here in just a second. You get a -5A minus 5S, -5 times 60. That's a -300. And now, pardon me why I'm going to erase this, just so you don't get it in your way. Now I'm going to add those things up. Why did I multiply by -5? Because look what's going to happen to these things in the middle. When you add them up, what happens? They're gone. And so you get 10A, 400 plus -300 is 100. Divide each side by 10. So you're going to do 10. Oh, this thing is like my type of workout. 10 minutes of aerobic stretching, or 10 minutes of aerobic work, and therefore 50 minutes of stretching. Oh, I could handle that workout for sure. Okay? Boom!